Some men are born with a curse they never recognize, the curse of choosing beauty over truth. And by the time they do, the wreckage has already begun. You see them everywhere, though you don't always realize what you're looking at. No middle ground. No maybes. Only the slow war between alignment and erosion. But most men only understand this in hindsight. When the damage is already done, when the mission is compromised, when he's buried pieces of himself to keep the peace that never comes, this isn't hatred. This isn't bitterness. This is survival. Because a man who cannot see beyond beauty is a man who was never taught to see it all. Men who once had fire behind the eyes, now dimmed. Men who once stood like towers, now bent in silence. Not because they lost a war, but because they slept beside it. No textbook prepares you for this. No father warns you in time. The world doesn't mourn the man who picked wrong. It mocks him. It tells him he should have known better. But how could he, when everything he was taught about love was a lie? They told him to be kind, to be vulnerable, to listen.
Yes.
They told him loyalty would earn him loyalty. But what they didn't tell him is that some women smile like spring and rot like winter. A man who studies more than curves and lips. A man who observes the shadow beneath the shine. Because the truth is this: not all chaos enters through the front door. Sometimes it kisses you goodnight. And if you re-knot sharp, if you re-knot ruthless with your standards, you want to even notice you re-bleeding until the floor is already red. Then not all who appear to nurture, build. Some only feed on the warmth of your purpose, until there is nothing left but a man staring into the mirror, wondering how the hell he got here. The world sells you comfort, but it never tells you the cost. And so you stumble into softness, thinking it's love, but it's quicksand. You think you've found a companion, but what you've really done is opened the gates to your fortress without checking what she carries in her hands. There are only two types of women in a man's life: the kind that multiplies his fire and the kind that drains it drop by drop. You must become what most men fear: a man who sees clearly. She will never knock down your gates with a hammer. That's not how the feminine infiltrates. She arrives wrapped in silk and softness, whispering peace while laying bricks of rebellion beneath your foundation. You compromise. You silence. You shrink. All in the name of love. But it's not love. It's surrender. Not the noble kind, but the kind that betrays your future. And all the while she watches you, not consciously but biologically, testing your structure the way nature tests all things. She does not test you because she hates your power. She tests you to see if it's real, if it's rooted, if it bends with every gust of emotion, or if it holds like stone. And most men fail. It's not because they weak, but because they were never told that being loved by a woman is not the same as being respected by her. And when she sees it bend, she stops trusting it. And no matter how sweet she is, a pet cannot command loyalty, only affection.
Oh.
And affection fades the moment a stronger presence enters the room. And when it finds it lacking, it either flees or consumes. That's why she left. That's why she cheats. That's why she mocks you when you break, because deep down she knows. The man who fears her disapproval cannot protect her from the world. If he cannot protect her, she must protect herself. Even if it means walking away. You call it peace, but she feels instability. You think your kindness earns affection, but it earns contempt. Because what cannot stand against her cannot lead her. And what cannot lead her, cannot hold her. You won't notice the shift at first. It's too subtle. Smirk when you speak with command. Watch her when you choose your mission over her craving. Does she erupt? Does she withdraw? Or does she adapt? Because that response, not her beauty, not her body, not her sweetness, that response is the real woman. That's the blueprint you're building with. And most are building with sand. Sigh when you say no. A laugh when you dare to draw the line. And that's how it begins. The slow undoing of your kingdom, not with swords, but with smiles. She doesn't need to be evil to be dangerous. She only needs to misunderstand your purpose. And worse, you let her stay. You, who once had a map, now follow her moods like a lost dog follows footsteps. Most men confuse attention for alignment. They mistake compliance for loyalty. But the truth is buried in the quiet moments. Watch her when you say no. Do not be fooled by her words. Watch her patterns. Does she keep her word? Does she speak well of her father? Does she admire discipline or resent it? Does she thrive in your presence or simply feed on it? You see, the tragic truth is this. Most women don't want to destroy you, but if you let them lead, they will. Not because they are villains, but because nature abhors a vacuum. If you do not claim the center, she will, and then resent you for making her do it. And here lies the great paradox no man wants to admit. The woman who will follow you fully is the same woman who will test you fiercely. Respect is the currency of the masculine. Without it, you're not a king, you're a pet. This is not cruelty. This is the ancient dance. The chaos tests the order. The feminine tests the masculine. She doesn't leave all at once. No. She drips out of your life slowly, silently, like a leak in the hull of your ship. First, it's the tone, a colder goodnight. Then it's the silence between texts. You made her the sun, and in doing so, became the shadow. You thought love was sacrifice, but no one told you. A man who sacrifices his edge loses his gravity, and a woman cannot orbit what no longer pulls, the way she forgets the things that used to matter. You ask if something's wrong, and she says, "I'm just tired." But you know better. She doesn't rage. She simply stops investing, stops respecting. And one day she wakes up and no longer needs your presence to breathe. It's the morning of a king who abandoned his crown. You became predictable. Not in a stable, anchored way, but in a way that made her soul yawn. You were no longer the storm. Just the ceiling fan spinning in a room she stopped entering. You feel it in your bones. The slow retreat of a woman who no longer sees you as home. And the worst part, you helped her pack. You watered every seed of distance with your own hands, traded your mission for her comfort. She loved your fire once, but you smothered it to keep her warm. You thought softness would keep her, but it only made her forget why she chose you in the first place. You tried to be her peace, not realizing that peace without strength is just surrender with better branding. And the truth is this. The moment she sees you as something she can control, she stops seeing you as a man. This is how most men get left. Not with a bang, but with a fading. And here's the part no man wants to admit. When she walks, she's not leaving you. She's leaving the version of you that betrayed yourself for her, not all at once, but gradually. Every time you said yes, when you meant no. Every time you asked instead of declared. Every time you stepped down from your throne to kneel at the altar of her feelings, now the temple is empty. The version that stopped leading. The version that waited for her permission to be powerful. That man, she cannot follow. That man, she will never love again. And the tragedy, that man was never real. You built him to survive her moods, and in doing so, killed the man she actually fell for. Now, you're left with pieces. It's with memories that taste like rust. And still, you wonder what changed. Not realizing it was you, the pain you feel, it's not just heartbreak. They say her past doesn't matter, that what she did before you is irrelevant. That love is about the now, the future. But Machiavelli would scoff, because history is prophecy wearing different clothes. But her past lovers weren't mistakes. They were mirrors, reflecting exactly what she was willing to tolerate, reward, and repeat. You are not the beginning. You are the next chapter in a book she's already written in blood. A woman's past is not a story. It's a pattern. And patterns don't lie. They call it insecurity. But ask yourself, would you build a fortress on cracked foundation? Would you wage war with a sword that's been broken 5 times and glued back together with emotion? Of course not. Yet men build empires on the shaky ground of a woman's untamed past and act surprised when the storm comes. If she disrespected her last man, why would she revere you? You need a partner forged by discipline, not dysfunction. So study her past, not to judge, but to predict. Because the woman who burns bridges and blames everyone but herself will one day burn you and call it growth. If she cheated once, betrayed once, ran from hard conversations once, what makes you think she won't do it again? Hope? Love? No, that's not strategy. That's fantasy. She tells you she's changed, that the man before you broke her, that now she's ready to heal. And here's the law most men ignore. A woman does not reset when she meets you. She reloads. Machiavelli didn't deal in fantasies. He studied results. Men today are told it's weakness to care about a woman's body count, her relationship history, her emotional wreckage. This is not about shame. It's about alignment. You are building a kingdom. You don't need a project. You want loyalty. Look at the trail behind her. Is it scorched earth or rooted soil? A queen doesn't have to tell you she's won. Her legacy will speak for her. She will smile when you give her the world. But if she doesn't fear losing you, she will never value it. That's the law no man wants to face. That fear is the furnace of respect. Without it, love decays into entitlement. A woman does not love the man who gives her everything. Not in anger, not in cruelty, just silence, just standards, just absence. The weak woman will panic. She'll test. She'll cry. Not because you did something wrong, but because you disrupted the fantasy where she reigns, and you submit. The strong woman, the aligned woman, she respects the space. If you cannot walk away, then you've already been walked over. She'll rise to meet the boundary. Because only a woman who respects the structure of your frame can find peace in your presence. She loves the man who could leave, but doesn't. She worships the one who doesn't need her, who stays because he chooses, not because he's afraid to lose her. And that rebellion begins not with betrayal, but with subtle disobedience, the eye roll, the ignored request, the backhanded compliment. These are not mistakes, they are tests. And every time you let one slide, she learns something. Not that you're kind, but that you're weak. Weakness in a man never earns devotion, only manipulation. And if you can't walk away, then you're not choosing, you're clinging. And she knows it. Without it, she grows blind to your worth. Not because she's cruel, but because the abundance of something breeds contempt for it. You think you're noble for staying no matter what? You think loyalty will make her soften? But you're mistaken. They rush to fill it with apologies, with attention, with compromise. They think absence will drive her away, not realizing that presence without value is the real poison. You are not her savior. You are not her source of endless validation. You are the architect of a life. And not everyone gets a seat in the plans. Watch what happens the moment you say no. But most men are terrified of that silence. Machiavelli warned us. A man who cannot enforce consequence invites rebellion. Your value is not in how much you give, it's in how little you tolerate. So let this burn itself into your mind. If she does not fear your absence, she does not value your presence. You think she loves you because she cries on your shoulder, because she vents to you, shares her secrets, collapses into your arms at 2 a.m. But affection is not allegiance. Vulnerability is not submission. But if she does not follow, it is all performance. She may adore your softness, your sensitivity, your willingness to absorb her storms, but she will never submit to it, because submission requires something deeper, something harder, something unshakable. She will only drag your crown through the dirt of emotional drama, until all that remains is a man exhausted by his own kindness. You draw the line. You are willing to walk, and if necessary, to walk alone, because power is not found in how much a woman shares with you. It is found in how much she obeys the structure you refuse to compromise. That is not love. That is slow death. The truth is colder. She may trust you with her feelings, but still refuse to follow your lead. And if she does not rise when you raise the standard, if she does not transform when you speak order into the chaos, then you are not her man. You are her therapist. It's her emotional trash can. It's a place to dump what she can't carry, but never a source of direction she intends to obey. And it gets worse, because the more emotionally available you are, the more she leans in. But not out of love, out of habit. You've become the container, not the compass. And when the day comes that she meets a man she respects more than she leans on you, she will vanish without warning. Because you were never the source of transformation, only a soft pillow she could cry into before returning to her own chaos. A woman's respect is not earned through emotional labor. It is commanded through masculine order. You can listen, yes, you can support. This is why so many good men are discarded. They mistake emotional access for relational power. They think that being there for her through every spiral means they've won her soul. But all they've done is become convenient, and convenience is disposable. So how do you separate yourself from the fate of the useful man? You stop leading with availability. You stop bending every time she breaks. You stop absorbing chaos, and instead you demand structure. You draw lines clear, hard, unmovable, and then you watch. Not her words, her reaction. Because when you stop being soft clay and become stone, the truth surfaces. She'll either adjust or exit. Let her. A woman who resents the weight of masculine order will never make you a king. You were not built to carry her instability. You were built to lead. And leadership means this: you set the pace. You still want to believe you can change her, so that if you love hard enough, wait long enough, suffer patiently enough, she'll finally see your worth. But that belief, that silent, aching hope, is the very reason you're broken. Not by her, by yourself. By the version of you that thought loyalty could overcome nature, that thought kindness could rewrite history. A man with mission in his blood, fire in his voice, clarity in his eyes. You've traded him for her. What has she done with that gift? She tested you, and you folded. She disrespected you, and you justified. She resisted, and you bent, until all that is left is a ghost of the man you once swore you'd be, that thought you were the exception to every warning you ignored. You're not. In every moment you spend trying to redeem a woman who refuses to rise is a moment you rob from the man you were meant to become. That man becomes the fire she cannot tame. That man becomes the axis her world begins to orbit, not because he asked, but because he earned it. Let me make this painfully clear. No woman on earth is your purpose. Not one. Your purpose is your work, your path, your order. She is either a multiplier of that mission, she is a storm looking for shelter, and your peace will become her playground, or a weight tied to your ankle, dragging you beneath the surface while whispering, "I love you." And the woman who cannot grow in your absence, collapses when your attention fades, who seeks chaos when silence arrives. That woman is not a partner. Step back and watch. Not what she says, what she becomes. If distance brings clarity, she might be worth choosing again. And in the realm of relationships, that means this: your boundaries must bite. Your absence must mean something. Your presence must not be handed away like a participation trophy for good behavior. If distance exposes disorder, you were never hers to begin with, only her latest attempt to outrun herself. But the woman who truly respects you doesn't want a man who kneels. She wants a man who builds, walks away when his standards are mocked, who holds the line, even if it means holding it alone. Machiavelli said it best: it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. You think she'll stay if you're soft, kind, always available? Because that man, the man who values himself more than her mood, her beauty, her affection, that man becomes unforgettable. And that is what she was waiting for all along.